All right, so the first thing we want to do is see how much recaning we need per chair. We're going to do about 2 inches overlap on each side. So I'm going to go ahead and cut both pieces, and then we're going to leave them in water, hot water, warm water, like a pleasant bath after you've gotten in when it's scalding hot. Thank you. And then you're like still in there and it's still pleasant, but starting to cool off. But yeah, this will get the caning nice and soft so we can convince it to go in the channels and then pound in the spline on that. Okay, so I went ahead and cut them first so they fit in the water a little bit better. And then we'll kind of like mush them around from time to time. We'll leave them in for a good 10-15 minutes, I think, to make sure they're nice and soft. You can leave them in for up to about a half hour, but I wouldn't leave them too long so they don't get mushy. While that is soaking, we'll go ahead and get the spline soaking too. I ordered enough to go all the way around each chair, so this should cover each chair, I hope. All right, we're gonna put these in the water and let those soak a good long time too. All right. Our cane webbing has sat and is nice and pliable. So what we're going to do is we're going to fit it into the channels. And one thing I like to do, if I can get in close, is find a place where we can tuck in between in these open spaces so there's less material to tuck in. So the idea is we're going to start on one side, and you need to get some really fancy tools like a rice spatula. We go old school, so you'll have to pardon our whatever. All right, so I'm going to try and just convince one section to go in on one side. And I'll go a little ways. You also want to make sure you're putting it in straight so you don't end up with like a crooked piece, which I have done before. And then I have one side in. So then what I'm going to do is come around to the other side, and we're going to start creating some tension. And this should stay in over here. So I'm going to go ahead and, I'm not pulling too hard, but I'm going to go ahead and tuck in a little bit on this side. I will say too, we did some recaning on a really hard day, and this recaning is a great exercise for when you're feeling angry or sad and just need to take out some frustration. All right, let's see how that holds. And then I'm going to do the same with the front and back. I'm going to poke in some of the front side, and then we'll go to the back side, and then we'll go from there. This is going in pretty well. Only a few minor crunches. All right. So here's what we have. We have 4 sections, so this is nice and sittable right now. I think this part varies from person to person. I find it easier to tuck the rest of this in with like an inch or so on the sides. So like this part over here is going to get in my way, so I'm just going to cut off some of this. Eventually we'll have to cut off all the excess because you don't see that in chairs when you sit in them. Then I'll probably cut some off on the back too. It's also kind of a good test, so if your caning starts to pop out, you know it's not really seated really well from the get-go. Sometimes that happens. I think there are wedges you can get for that. All right, and then I'm going to cut off the corners too. There's a special trick for doing corners I'll show you, but because corners are where it gets the bulkiest, if that's a word. Okay. All right, so now we've got it trimmed-ish. Again, you don't have to trim it. I just like to. And I'm going to start going around and I'm going to do the full length. Okay, so again, the name of the game is to decrease the amount of bulk that you're tucking in. So I'm going to start taking out some of these diagonal pieces so I don't have to fight them. I'm not going to take this one out because it goes into the seat. So I'll leave that one there, but these can come out. And then on this side, I'm going to leave this one. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see when I get there. I'm going to take this one out. Yeah, I think because these channels are so deep, I can leave that one in there. Okay. Now we're going to use another super fancy tool, which I like to call the razor blade. This is also where I tend to accidentally cut myself. So we're going to trim just to the outside edge because we'll have that spline that'll fit in the channel here. Now it's spline time. I don't know why I sound so excited about that. So we're going to use genuine hide glue. We used wood glue, but it turns out this kind of hide glue actually holds better. So I'm going to put a good amount in the channel all the way around. Oh, and P.S. Carrie is right next to me doing the same thing, but she doesn't like being on camera, so. Did you say that's the sound of genius? Oh. Also the sound of genius, but. All right, so I have this, and I'm gonna cut. Can I borrow the scissors, por favor? Please, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna cut approximately 2 length. I want to try and cut at an angle too, so they can look a little fancier, like a 45-degree angle. Ugh. So yeah, so I'm doing 45-degree angle, so when the sides meet, they meet really nicely. This is the fun part. This is also the other passive-aggressive part, where we get hammer. You literally just all right. This is a little too long here. I'm gonna cut that. If I can. Okay. So there's one. It'll turn out real nice. This also kind of splatters the glue. So before we're done, we're going to go around and wipe it all up. All right, next, you can see. The nice thing too is you can just keep moving your chair around so it works for you. It's like a full body sport.